Mic check.
Mic check.
Me.
Yep. Talking more. It's not working?
No, it's working, but I might have to turn you up a little bit.
Okay.
Let's see your back.
You don't go up a level?
I could.
We're not, listen, don't listen.
No, I just asked a question. I'm just... Yeah, I animated. Where's your book at? Don't answer that. No.
I was like,
Is it on Amazon?
Yes.
Okay, that's the reason why mine is on Amazon. That's why I was asking.
Mm-hmm.
Now let me tell you a trick about Amazon. I hope you get this on camera. You know they be stealing your sales, right?
Oh gosh.
Let me tell you what I did the first. This is how I found out.
Hold on, is it a mic check?
Mic check, mic check.
Okay, you might have to move your mic up just a little bit more.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's better.
Okay.
You still might have to give them that Ricardo voice. You might have to
Project a little more?
Yeah.
Like this?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay.
When I first got my books,
So this is your camera. This is your camera, and you're sharing this one together.
Okay.
when I first got my books, I told a friend, I paid them, used my credit card and everything. I said, go get me 40 books, because I didn't know the process yet, so I just bought my own book.
Oh, no.
So when you buy your own books, you're supposed to get royalties. Mm-hmm. I never got my royalties.
Oh, wow.
So then check it out. So then when I called them and said, we get royalties when you sell books, right? And he said, yeah. I said, okay, how come I never got my royalties? I sold this amount of books. He said, you ain't sell no books. I was like, what do you mean I didn't sell no books? He said, we didn't get no, you sold books? I said, not only did I sell books, I could tell you who purchased the books. Because I didn't put it in my name, I put it in his name.
Oh.
So when I said the name, they knew I wasn't lying. Mm-hmm. So I was just like, oh, y'all be not giving people this. So you could sell your book. And then another time I was in the gym, a lady came to me, she said, I love your book, I even left you a comment. I was like, no, you didn't, because I look at all my reviews and comments. Mm-hmm. She's like, yeah, I did. She showed me her phone, but it's not in my review. So a lot of the times you gotta, so the best thing to do is what you're doing, buy them outright.
Yes, and
sell them yourself.
Like,
yup.
Yeah.
Welcome to TF3 Airport. Is what? 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 They say what we famous for. That's why I'm taking y'all on this verbal tour. First stop, Providence Place Mall, 3 floors of stores to shop for you and yours. Don't have a ride, you can take the Ripper. Anywhere you need to go, the bus will get you. Cranston, Warwick, even Newport, Kennedy Plaza, where you can find the ice court. Y'all know Brown University, famous. J-Dub, PC, URI, famous. Students from everywhere come here to go there. The capital's Providence, Dante is in your ear. Home of the Blue Bug, Iggy's and Thayer Street. Full of stores to shop on, places you can eat. Near there is downtown P-Pack, enjoy a show. The Dunk Water Fires, other things you need to know. Can't forget Fat Hill for real.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, y'all know what it is when you see the hoodie. You know what time it is. Showtime! Well, anyway, welcome to another episode of Other Side of Things. I am your host, Dante Martin. My co-host somewhere else, but we ain't talking about him or thinking about him right now, but he's doing his job somewhere. You know how I do, gotta make y'all laugh before we start. But he always have some interesting people that we love to sit down and talk with. And every time we sit down and talk with his people that he know, it always be a great conversation. So today's guest, we have another lovely lady, wonderful woman. And we're gonna give you the opportunity and the chance to get to know who this lovely person is. So we're gonna let her introduce herself. And Let the games begin.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Kou Tukala Nyan. I am a resident in Rhode Island. I'm a writer, an author, and an artist overall. So it's great to be here.
Great to be here. Well, you invited us in your home.
Oh.
This ain't our home, but you know what? I was gonna go somewhere, but I'm gonna ask this question off the jump, and then we're gonna get into knowing you. When we was off camera, we was talking, I asked you a question of, can we unify Rhode Island? And when I seen your faces and your thought pattern, I was just like, she really wanna put in thought and effort in this, so what is that answer?
Oh boy. When you first asked me that question, I thought yes, because what tends to happen in Rhode Island is people do band together and work together. But then my thought went to, do we really? And just because I've seen few people work together doesn't mean that everybody automatically works together to, move Rhode Island forward in whatever way necessary.
So why you think that?
I'm trying to not give too much, but I'm just saying that.
You ain't gotta say no names. You ain't gotta, listen. You ain't gotta say no names. You could just say cause when I sit up there and say, here's my answer. I used to say there's too many chiefs and not enough Indians. Then I have to reverse my answer. My answer now is there's too many Indians, not a chief. Because here's the difference. A chief is someone that could reproduce a chief. I haven't seen nobody do that. I haven't seen somebody make money for other people, put people in a successful position. Not saying they're not successful, I'm saying put them in a successful position. Like when I ask my friends this question all the time. Because I have friends, like I said, if you lost your job, do you have anyone that can hire you? That's what I mean.
Oh, okay. I can see it that way too. It really depends on what groups you're a part of in Rhode Island.
Correct.
Too. I think that's the main thing, because some groups work together, especially if they have the same goal, they're going to be able to work together to move forward. But the reason why I hesitated was like, oh, what if they didn't have the same goal? Then what happens?
Then basically, it's a stagnant, it's like a hamster wheel. It's like you can see some kind of movement, but it ain't going nowhere, which goes to my other point I always say. Let me see if you agree with this. I always say the problem with Rhode Island, and it could be other states, other places, but I'm only speaking from this point of view. Let's just say we're gonna make an apple pie. We have the apple, we have the pie crust, the cinnamon, everything. Now people see the ingredients, and instead of waiting for us to bake the pie, they already starting to eat the ingredients. So we don't even get to bake the pie. You would get the analogy?
Yeah,
So
I see what you mean by that.
we don't even get to bake the pie, whereas with Beyond Yon Productions, what we're doing is we're making the pie, duplicating the pie, and then if eventually everybody want to go their separate ways, how many pies did we make? Now you split the pies because you see the development of the pies to split. So that's why I say one of the reasons why we're not progressing is because people will see the beginning stages of us putting the pie together and want to eat it. Like, oh, that apple look beautiful. We need that for the pie. So if you eat all the apples, it's not an apple pie no more.
So what happens when you want to make the pie? What happens if you bring all of these people to the table to bake the pie and you just keep reminding the people, bake this pie, we're baking a pie. Don't touch that, we're baking the pie. Out of curiosity.
Well, here's the thing. It's like what I talked to you off. When you position people and you put them in a position, remember, if you're a leader, you're a chief, then you gotta put the person in a qualified position where they feel comfortable and they can fulfill their role. See, if you give somebody something that they can't do, that's like you seen when my partner over here told me, one day I'm gonna have you set up them cameras. No, you're not. See, so if you gave me that role, I would have to get through the frustration of trying to learn how to do it before I could actually flourish in that position. So if I don't have the patience or the desire to want to do that, am I gonna learn and do it effectively as he does?
Probably really not.
So you have to recognize the role for a person and what role do they fit and what do they bring to the table.
Yes.
Because somebody might say, I want to learn how to do this, and eventually you be patient with them to develop them in that area. But if they not showing you that that's what they want to do, then who fault is it by you putting them in that position?
So how I'm looking at it based on that example is, in order for Rhode Island to truly move forward, more people need to know where their strength lies, and other people need to also know where that person's strength lies in order to make things move forward. The reason why I wanted to say yes first is because I did experience some of those things sort of happen, like being able to use this facility and working with the people.
You can say the facility.
Lit Arts Rhode Island.
Yummy. Got some great tea too.
Yes. But also as somebody who consumes the news and went to school for journalism and experienced seeing when communities did not do that, you know, it's sort of, we kind of got it, but we're not all the way there.
All right, so now that goes to getting to know you.
Okay.
So what do you bring to the table?
Ooh, never had that question before.
I know. welcome to Beyond.
What do I bring to the Rhode Island table? Ooh, if I make my answer short, I can say myself. I bring myself. And that encompasses a person who is curious, a person who loves to experience different parts of Rhode Island and the world, who loves to get to know people as well. Hence why, you know, I do journalism as well, so I can get to know people and get the information out there and promote the best way I can.
Right, so using your answer, myself, who is myself? Who is myself? What makes myself? I'm using your answer.
Okay.
What makes myself who myself is? Where did myself start?
Oh, where did I start? That's such a good question.
I know. Dante.
Where did I start?
Well, you did come out your mother's womb, and then your mother and father came together.
I was like, oh my goodness, that's such an obvious answer. My mother gave birth to me in January,
Well,
and
let me make it better
happened.
for you. Okay, so here's the thing. Most of the time, right, we as children, we gravitate to something. Something catches our interest. It could be television. It could be the people that we hanging around at the time. Something in school, a teacher. So what was it that caught your attention and you gravitated to? And see, because that gravitation now has opened the doors to you being an author, poetry, journalist, all these different, because like I love to say, like, you have children? Okay, I like to say, as a one person, being a mother, being a wife, and whatever you do for work, still that one person. So what was it that sparked, what was the seed that was planted, that sprouted to become all that we see?
Oh boy. There's a lot of seeds. There was a lot of work.
Talk about it. This is your floor. Hey, I'm just gonna sit here with my tea. Yum yum.
Okay, I will start with my curiosity. So that may have began with my parents hosting meetings at their house for the Nima County Association, and that's a county in Liberia. And there'll be all these aunts and uncles, and I will try to be in their business because, you know, I'm also the youngest. So I have that stereotype of being so curious. Also, I really loved cartoons like Rugrats and stuff, so I wanted to like recreate that story for myself. So I would draw and make up stories through my drawings. And that became, oh, in school, the teacher would read to us. I want to do that too. So one of the things I would do is I'll pile up all my toys, take my made-up book, and start reading them stories from my little drawings. Over time, that developed into, one day I heard my aunt say, oh, this girl's gonna be a journalist. And I was like, a journalist? So I was drawing. I was also interested in reading the newspaper, particularly the weather for some reason. And I was like, maybe journalism is something that I should consider. So when I got into high school, I was a part of the broadcast program, and I was like, oh, I really like this. And I still love telling stories. I remember even when I was 8 years old, I wrote to Scholastic thinking, oh, I have a story I want to write and I would really be honored to publish with you all. They sent me a rejection letter, but it didn't stop my...
You got Michael Jordan.
They're like, no, we don't, no.
You didn't make the team.
Yeah, but one of the things that I remember is my mom sitting with me and writing the letter with me. And I hear about certain people who don't get that sort of push from their parents. And I was like, that was really inspiring for me to be like, oh, I can do this because my mom sat with me and helped me to write this letter. So fast forward to many years and going to school for journalism because I was like, okay, this is probably the gift that's gonna help me to make some money and I get to learn about everything that's going on. I ended up writing and publishing a book, then working with Hey Rhody and Rhode Island Monthly and different publications. So that was the shortened version. I also want to say that a lot of different things, particularly in the artistic realm, spiked my interest, and I always thought, why not? Or what if I did this? So one of the things I used to do was dance, and when I started going to Ebenezer Baptist Church, I got baptized.
Hold on, what'd you go there? That's my church.
Really?
Pastor Bela.
Oh my gosh, I go to the early morning service.
Oh, you still go now?
Yes.
Okay, so I could. Was you there when Sister Stacy was there?
Yes, I was.
So
Yeah.
Okay, I'm surprised we didn't bump heads.
No, probably because did you go to the 11 most of the time before?
Hold up, they didn't have an early service when I was going.
Oh, because I was going. Oh, you went long before I started then, probably.
Oh, that means we have to say what our ages are, because there might be a gap there. But Pastor Bill, I thank you. See, two of your pupils. Look what we have accomplished. But so, your church.
So when I started going there around 15, and I became Christian, got baptized, they said, okay, you need to join ministries. And so I was like, well, I want to learn how to dance better, so I'll try going into dance ministry. And from there, I got into liturgical dance. And from there, I started dancing for Miss Magic Theater for some time. So a lot of different doors opened for me simply because I took that step to be, what is this? Let me explore this and see if it's for me.
Right. So, let me see. One of the things I like that you said and we very big on, and that's basically if there was a mission statement, is this: mother and father was in your life, right? Mm-hmm. How important do you feel that your mother and father being there helped you and developed you into the person that you are today?
I think it was very important because you automatically think that they support you and want what's best for you. And when you are interested in things that they are capable of helping you with, like sitting down and writing a letter with you, that inspires you and that sticks with you.
Right.
And not to say, but I also understand that not many people have that with their families or their parents. I'm led to believe so long as there's a caring adult in your life who's willing to make that investment in you, it would help you move forward.
Right.
Yeah, because it wasn't just my parents, it was also teachers, a lot of teachers who invested in me as well.
Because that's one of the things I stress how important it is. It's like the dynamic of a mother and father. Like, that's the first thing that caught my attention when you said when you got rejected, you said your mom sat down with you and helped you write a letter. Mm-hmm. So I know that was inspiring, because now just imagine if she didn't do that, mm-hmm. would you have gave up on the hope and the dream?
If there was nobody else there to be like, well, I wonder, maybe I would have, but I do wonder if like the desire to be a writer, the desire to be a storyteller will still come back to me somehow.
So let's play the game. Mm-hmm. Mom didn't do that. To what extent or what time do you think somebody else would have came and picked up where that was left off? That's a hypothetical question. It's not really, I mean.
It really, because I was like, I have no idea. But given, when I think about the different supports that came in my life, I wouldn't be surprised if support wouldn't come again until high school. Because high school is when I had teachers who really invested in my writing gift and my storytelling gift. Which was interesting. It was like my parents, then teachers, then, community.
Right. Now, people, what I'm doing, because we're going to go in a different direction as well, but what I'm doing is I'm building up to show you this person, because this is a woman. We're going to get into race, we're going to get into ideologies, but I want to build her up, tell you who she is as an individual, because as an author myself, I wrote a book called The Disconnect. And the way I wrote it as you as the individual, you on the relationships that you choose, and then the last one was how you and society play. I have a church version of it too that I didn't put out yet, but somehow it survived the fire. So I maybe one day, I guess God will want me to put it out, but I haven't put that one out. But everybody that read the books was like, this is a great read. It was like, where'd you get that inspiration? And it was like, what happened at the time, I left a job, and God just had me for 8 months by myself, and I was doing a lot of research, because it also sparked a conversation at work yesterday where me and two women that's married, we was having a conversation about the books and about society, and it was just like, your view on society is amazing. So we was at work and we was having a conversation, so I want a woman's perspective, because when I speak, I'm speaking from a man that understands how women see things, but I'm not a woman, and I always say that I'm not a woman, and I'm not gonna say something that I haven't experienced. So I want you to speak on that experience. That's why I said people, I'm building up. So, out of everything that you do, what do you find most intriguing?
Out of
everything you do.
Oh my goodness, it's like pick your favorite child.
Now, here's funny about you say that. You don't have a child.
No, I don't.
So to have that idea,
okay,
and to say that, you see how we identify things?
Yes.
Oh, we going somewhere today, people.
Yes. Okay. Or even my favorite plant, that would also hurt me deeply.
Poetry, dancing, writing, researching.
So I look at them all the same.
But there gotta be one that stands out.
One that stands out, huh? All right, I'll do words. The words are the ones that stands out for me.
The words?
The words.
The words, explain that. The words. So like the whiz. The whiz. The whiz.
The words.
The words. Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
That might be the name of this episode.
The words?
The words. Like, huh? The words. So explain that. You got my attention.
All right. So when I work with words, such as like poetry or short story, or even reporting, those are the ones that stands out to me the most, because those are more obvious storytellers, I think.
Okay. You gotta explain it, because people are like, huh, what are you talking about? What's storytellers?
So when people usually think about being told a story, most of the time it seems as though they perceive it through words. And then so when I use that word and I see the response I get from people who would interact with the poems or interact with the stories I write, or even feel inspired in some way to like visit a restaurant or connect with somebody who maybe I wrote about, that's the more inspiring part about it for me. And it's mostly that communication piece that comes after creating the art or creating the poetry for me, or even writing, that's very inspiring to me. So that's probably why it stands out more.
So when you writing these words and doing these words, how you think it's inspiring to others? I'm just, it's like a boxing, like, you see her face, she's like,
like how? I can only go by what I've been told, I've noticed that it inspires others to go ahead and write poetry themselves or write for themselves, and understand that they don't have to put themselves in a box when it comes to art. One of the things, before people would like read my work or know that I'm a writer, they'll be like, oh, I don't know how to write. I was like, that sentence you wrote could be art, depending on how you look at it.
Right. So here's a question I want to ask you, because you covered so much in so short a time, and we're going to cover some more. What is it that you would want people to know about you that you feel they don't know about you?
Oh. And that's an interesting question, because I consider myself a private person. I would like people to know, if they don't already know, that I'm curious to hear their stories. And it's more so, I think everybody has a story to tell, and everybody has something that they can share that's very important. Throughout the years, I've met so many people with amazing stories, and what breaks my heart sometimes when I meet these people is they kind of downplay their stories, their gifts. And I was like, no, that's amazing. Not everybody can do that. Not everybody has the ability to, like, I don't know, sew. Not everybody has the ability to interview somebody for a show. And some people are like, oh, well, I can't, you know.
What it is sometimes when someone tells you something, like, I'll give an insight on me as a rapper who perform with rappers that you know, big time stages. Something that still bothers me is one time when there was a battle and I wasn't a freestyler. So when we went, we wasn't even thinking it was gonna be a battle. So it started off as a battle, and they wanted me to start it off, and I'm just like, why am I starting it off? I'm like, all these lyricists here. So I went to go start it off, and remember, I didn't freestyle, and I didn't want to just start off with my writtens because I didn't. So I said a few lines. It was a whole bunch of people, and a few lines scattered.
Oh my gosh.
I never even took battle over. To this day, I still think about that. I'm like, why did I do that? And it's like, to see who I am now, again, it didn't break me to the point that I wanted to give up. Or like a time when I was in school and there was a battle also. And me, like, when I listened to music, I wrote to the beat of a music. So I tried different flows, different styles. And I remember one time I was writing something and I was memorizing. So when I went to go spit it as a freestyle to others, they didn't hear the beat of it, so they took it the wrong way. Oh. So the reason why I'm saying that is sometimes we don't know what these people encountered, where somebody might have said some discouraging words that made them not want to, because they felt broken. Like, as a girl at my job with, beautiful girl. And so when I said to her, and I'm not sure if Jakeem was on the phone with me with her, but when I said, oh yeah, he was actually. When I said to her, King was. So when I said to her, why don't you, because I was trying to get her to be in a video, because she had a look that I needed for a video. So she was just like, I don't know and everything. And I was just like, why not? And I was like, oh, did a guy tell you you're not beautiful? And she said, yes. So now we went to my question. That's why I said we're going to transition into this. So I went to my question. Why does one guy able to dictate how you feel when there's other people that doesn't see from the same perspective of that person?
Oh my goodness, I was gonna ask you a similar question.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Oh, here's the conversation, let's go. T.
A similar question I've had was, if one person said one thing to someone and it made them broken and hard, and it's hard for them to like move forward from that. Like the woman you were speaking about, that one guy said that she wasn't beautiful or something. How many times would you need to remind that person that they're beautiful?
Well, here's the thing. I got a therapeutic background. I've been in the human service field since '99. So one of the things I notice is this. I always use this as an example is, we're containers. And so what you take in is the substance you're gonna hold. Now water is pure, and I'm speaking from since we got a cup in front of us, so here's the cup. Me and you, we're cups. We're different shapes or whatever. So now, if I'm pouring in, you're ugly, I hate you, you're never gonna be anything. That's already 3 substances in there before you even have one pure thing said. So as these 3 substances in there, even if I come and say to you, I love you, what dominates that cup?
All the negative.
All the negative.
Yeah.
So now the thing about it is, there's dimensions to these conversations, but what I'm doing, people, I'm trying to get you to understand, like, one, sometimes you need the right person or somebody that you could gravitate and you could see as greater to tell you that these things is not true. Because one of the things I say to people, like, I tell people, what's your intentions when you link up with somebody? Did you get with them because of the looks, the finances, their bodies? Okay, now let's look at it. When the looks fade, are you still gonna see them for who they are? When the money is spent, are you gonna still see them for who they are? When the body's no longer there, are you gonna see them for who they are? See, one of the things I keep saying is learn a person's personality. And just like you said earlier, everybody has a story to tell. We all do have a story to tell. So now it goes back to, if I was abused young and you don't know I was abused, so now I'm coming into a new circle away from that abuse, but now people in the new circle is not reintroducing me to that abuse that I'm trying to get away from. It's deep, but it's actually not. Now I'm feeling a certain way because now you're bringing back memories. That's why the name of my book is called The Ghost in the Machine. Because when I meet you, I can sit up there and say, oh, nice, wonderful women presentation, but I'm only gonna know what you tell me about yourself. So now if I don't know the people that you dealt with before I meet you, they're ghosts, because I'm never gonna see them. I'm never gonna meet them. So I'm meeting them and you, and I have to become what now? Your healer. And that's the problem with society. We don't take the time to heal. So when you don't heal, what happens?
You still walk around broken.
Go ahead, you can take your time.
Because now my brain is like, oh, different thoughts. There's different thoughts. One thought I've had was, yes, you're expected to, or you think that you need to become the role of a healer. But I also, maybe from experience or observation, that it's also, you're not the only one who's going to need to fill that role, that it's going to take a community to help build that person up.
Yes and no. I'm gonna start with
Finish the thought.
Oh no, she was finished. See, I'm reading body language. I know how she pause and she says it's gonna take a community. Yes and no. Move along, King. When you watch this, everybody gonna be like, yo, this dude is nice. He lets his people speak. Let's talk about relationships. The problem with the word relationship, the words, is everybody, when you say the word relationship, they always think about a man and a woman. No, relationships is relationships. Relationship, you have a relationship with your school teacher. You have a relationship with your parents. You have a relationship with the people that you meet. Me and the guy that was talking behind the camera that's talking about he's not going to be in front of the camera, but somehow his voice coming through the camera. We have a relationship. We have a relationship. So right now we have a relationship. So the problem with the relationship is people don't know how to put relationships in its proper perspective. Like people, like a male and a female, just because they around each other doesn't mean that they're doing something. And that's something that everybody always keep thinking happens. So the reason why I said a community is because if you don't trust people, excuse me, if you don't trust people, how are you gonna build with people that you don't trust and you don't know? So now you gotta find somebody that you trust. And then sometimes it will take that just one person for you to trust. So I know that because there's a lot of people that tell me secrets about their life, and I'll be like, how come you feel comfortable enough to tell me that? And I'm talking about some wild stuff. But they knew, one, I ain't gonna betray their trust, and two, they was like, you help me. Because one of the things as I'm not a licensed therapist, but I know how to counsel, because I counsel on an aspect of spirituality. I know how to bring it mentally, and I know how to bring it physically, but I always bring it to spiritual first. And if you don't believe in spirituality, then I bring it to energy and influence. So now, going to what you just said, when that person's hurt and broken, remember, the first question is who broke them? So if their mother and father did it, or the person that they trusted the most, which is in my book, how are they going to trust strangers when people that are supposed to love them hurt them? So that's the first thing. Secondly, now, if they don't feel you have the patience to deal with them in their brokenness, and people give up on them, who are they going to trust? Because they do need patience to be healed. Like, because when they out lashing out, like I tell people all the time, when somebody's coming at you, I didn't do anything to you, so you're not really coming at me. So if you feel like I help you, you want to have a conversation, let's have a conversation. And that's what I get to the person. That's how I help them, because I find out something about them as they talk, and then I go there as the baseline, the foundation, the what's the word? The thing, when the architects, the house, because like here's the thing, the greatest example, you can't build a house on a foundation that was standing before when they take down a house, they have to take down the whole foundation, because that foundation was built and construct for that house to stand on. So now if you try to put a new house there, what happened? The foundation would break or crack, because what happened? It wasn't built to do this house. Because that house could have probably been a 1-family house, now you're building a 3-family house on it, so guess what? It's heavier and all this other stuff. It's kind of like our bridge right now. Welcome to Rhode Island.
Not the bridge.
Had to throw that in there.
Not the bridge.
So now again, so that's why I said we're gonna have this conversation. So we're gonna have a male, female, man, woman conversation. How do I wanna go here? All right, when I sit up there and say to women, you don't have no children.
No.
So when I talk to a bunch of women that have children, I'll ask them simple questions. So let's play the game, do you agree or disagree? And
wouldn't that be hard to be asking somebody without kids?
now you're gonna understand where I'm coming from.
All right.
And as you speak on it, I'm gonna let you go. So one of the questions I ask these women is, you didn't have no children, right? But you got with a man that had multiple baby mothers. Why would you want your first child to be with someone that had multiple women, kids with multiple women? What's your take on that?
Oh, I genuinely do not know. I have no idea.
You don't have no idea? You don't even have a say on it?
Okay, so even the thoughts that I have in my head towards it, I don't think it's like my place.
See, there's a problem. See, now, here's the point. By you saying it's not your place, let me tell you why yes it is, and I'm gonna tell you why it does a disservice. Who gets hurt in the process? The children.
Yeah.
And because we're not speaking on it and educating people properly, what happens? They go uneducated. So now, why it is your place, I'm gonna tell you why. By you sitting up there saying, I don't have children, you have a story to tell. Why don't you have children? So when they hear your perception may help the next group of women coming up. And the women that already experienced that might say, you know what? I didn't have that, and maybe I could take that inspiration that you're saying now and apply it now for when I find the next person that I want to interact with. So that's why I said, see, we have to put things in this proper perspective of, like me, I don't have no children. Why? I was a single, my mom had me as a single male. I never met my father. If I knew how I felt, why would I put another child through that? I was like, I'm never gonna put my children through that. So if I'd rather not have children than to put a child through that. My child's gonna see, you're gonna see both of your parents until one of us pass away. So now that I give you more insight, now what's your answer on that? Tea, please.
Now that you explained it like that, I'm curious to see like what were their answers to you when you asked them, why did you have a kid with a person who already had a bunch of kids?
Oh, I know some of the answers. They didn't even have to tell me, but like I said, you're not in that situation. So I'm asking you, like, see, when it comes from me saying it, he's judging us. He think he's better. That's why people think I'm conceited.
Yeah.
I'm not conceited. It's just the fact of, so like I said on many podcasts that I have been on, why would I want to get in a situation that you don't even like? You don't like, there was a video I was watching on YouTube today, and it wasn't black people, it was WPs. This guy was talking to the wife, telling her, not wife or girlfriend or something, I didn't want kids. While one of her kids was hitting him with a broom. Whacking him with a broom. And he's like, this is why I didn't want kids. And he said, this is why your father don't want nothing to do with y'all. Look at your kids, see? Wow. Now, but here's the thing. Why would you get in that situation if you wasn't properly preparing yourself for the situation, not for just yourself, but for them as well? Because now you entered in their life, and now you became part of their life, and now you just hurting even more by leaving their life. And now your frustration is what added more to their frustration. So again, when I'm asking you as a woman, and you saying it, see, if you say the same thing I have said prior, they can't say, oh, he's conceited or he's judging us, because now it's a woman saying it that I never had the conversation about. Don't be scared.
Still pleading the fifth.
You see this, people? She know our community. That's why she pleaded the fifth. But again, okay, so now, now I could come from another aspect then. The Bible said, in season and out of season to do what?
What?
The Bible says, teach in season and out of season. So you have to. This is why God raised. One of the things that I explain to people, I'm not going to say in this episode, but if you watch previous episodes, I explain why I went through what I went through. When I speak in groups, I tell them, a young man went through this, and this, and this. Where y'all think this young man is at today? And all of them would say, dead or in jail. So then when I say you're looking at them, their eyes bulge like, and they're like, we're sorry. No, it ain't.
We're sorry.
The reason why I say God puts us in these positions is because, again, no matter what I went through, no matter how broken I was, the Lord fixed me and made me the man I am today to tell my story, to inspire and encourage others to overcome their stories. So you're not judging them when you're telling your side of the story, because that's your side of the story. Just like when I sit up there and say, I'm not expecting everybody to do or believe the way I believe. It's like us talking about being Christians. I'm not expecting you to be a Christian. I'm not telling you to be a Christian. One plant, one water, but God see the increase. That's between you and the Lord. So when I meet you, I just have a conversation with you. So what you do with that conversation is like, here's the substance I'm giving to you in your cup. It's up to you to drink it or not. And my job is not to sit there and see if you drink it, and I'm never gonna come back and ask you if you drink it or not. I'm just gonna move on. Because time would tell if what that man said is correct or incorrect. So when I sit up there and I tell him, I'm in a great position financially. Like, I'm talking to people that want to do more business opportunities with me. And why do they want to do that? Because they know I'm in a position to do these things. But if I wasn't, guess what? They wouldn't be talking to me.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's why I said we can't, because let me tell you something that Pastor Balak said that changed the way I look at money. We was in a Bible study on a Wednesday, and he said, if you want to make enemies, lend friends money.
Oh, wow.
He told me that when I was 20 years old. If you want to make enemies, lend friends money. So by him telling me that, I didn't have to go through the experience of it. I locked my money up in CDs, so when people ask me to borrow money,
Good idea.
I don't have it. It's in the CD. Oh, get it out and I'll pay the. If you got the money to pay my interest, then you got the money.
Yeah.
I'm not taking that out because I'm getting penalized. See, that lets me know you didn't even understand how penalized I'm getting. Even if you pay the interest, you're still not paying the interest because you're gonna pay the interest and the money I'm losing for taking it out.
Yeah.
They don't get it. So again, I'm not telling you have to do it now on this camera, but God put you in the position that you're in to be an example to others. How your parents was an example to you? Because again, some women will look at you and say, oh, wow, she's very beautiful. And it doesn't mean by looks, but how you present yourself. And they don't know how to be beautiful because what? They didn't have a mother there to write with them. They didn't have a father there to tell you, you know what, daughter, you could be whatever you want to be. I love you. Most of them go to what? They gravitate to a man to be that father figure. And then if the man had an intention, what happened? I'm giving you all this love, and what happened? You hurting me in the process. So then my hope and faith in this. So that's why when I sit up there and say, when people come in front of these cameras, yes, you have a story to tell. Look at the books you write.
Oh yeah.
Your book, which you could talk about, look at the name of the book.
Jesus Adulting People in Poetry.
And what are you talking about?
Jesus Adulting People in Poetry.
Give us a sample.
All right. So let me see what I can read from here. I'll start with the first one I read in church before I published it, and it's called Ways.
Ways.
Yes. I hear him say, "Follow me to be free. I will cover you with empathy, separate you from Satan's lead. With my staff, I'll guide you, so you can be free. Remember those stories of your mothers and fathers of faith who lean on Christ in unity to find a better way. Enslaved, scattered, discriminated against, murdered, hopeless. They learned and taught others how to pray. And be grateful for that day. That freedom will come for you. Lord only knows what he has in store for you. He said, 'Follow me to be free. I will shelter you with empathy, snatch you and protect you from Satan's deeds. With my staff, I'll guide you, make a way for you, all so you can be free. He who the sun sets free is free indeed.'" Thank you.
Now, if somebody, you just brought a story to me, so if somebody was to come to you, could you tell me what those words mean?
Freedom, and freedom through Christ. So I'm sure people have different opinions of how that looks like. But knowing what I know as a Christian and finding that freedom to live authentically as much as I can, to live understanding and knowing that any shortcomings I have, I can pray and I can learn how to be better through walking with Christ. So when I was thinking about that, when I was writing this, I thought about how that's kind of similar stories of those who came before us and were able to teach us through maybe their actions and their stories, more stories, about where you can find that freedom.
You see, Keem, how I know her tendencies. When she says something, she stops, and I come right. Had to just let him. So when he's editing this, he just know. But
yeah,
you just remind me of a story that happened. This is why I said how important it is. I was in Tampa Bay, Florida. The first time I ever been to Florida, I kissed the ground because I was like, I never thought I would be in Florida. You hear about it, but you never think you're there. So it's a whole backstory, but basically the state tried to shut me out. The state tried to shut me out. So what happened was this. They ended up letting me perform anyway. So I performed in these projects. They said these were like the worst projects in Tampa. And when I performed this song, they were so amazed by the song, everybody, that they say, "Yo, we want you to perform in this church the next day." Now, they were trying to stop me from performing, but now, so what happened? God has his plan. So we in this church is packed, Tampa, Florida. I did this song again. One song, that's it. So we outside. Now I made a lot of friends when I was out there. I made these people from Duval, Jacksonville, Duval. Great. It was a great experience that nobody could ever take away from me. So while I'm outside, I'm by myself. This big muscle dude heading my way. I'm like, and he's like, and I'm like, oh man. I was like, God. I was like, I don't know if I could take him, but I'm like, whatever, he's just coming. And he's like, So I'm looking like, do anybody see this? Like, am I the only one seeing this person? So he comes. So he gets to me. He goes, you touched me. No, I didn't. I don't even know you. He's like, no.
Oh.
You touched me. Your words that you said up there touched me. He started crying. Now, me knowing the Bible, I took my feet off because I looked at it as the Moses situation. This is holy ground. So I took my shoes off and I started talking to him about Christ. He was locked up and he was saying the words that you said, it touched me. So I was able to minister to him, and it was perfect how everything lined up, because when I sat up there and said, if you don't have nobody you could talk to, like I was introducing him to the pastor of the church, I was like, you don't have nobody to talk to, here's my number and everything. And he said that I don't have the phone service or whatever. And one of the guys from the group, the Duval people, pulled out a card and gave it to him and said, hey, now you have the opportunity. So when I'm sitting up there saying to you, when somebody asks you what those words means, I would have never thought in the same time I went to Bronx and I performed this song. I did a song when I basically was talking about I killed my brother. And the way I described it like if I was a drug dealer and I killed him, but I put my brother as Jesus. You wouldn't have known that until it got to the end of the song. So when I did that, and I said, if you want to receive salvation, here's your chance, and everybody came. And then there was this one kid that the church said, we've been trying to get that kid to come to Christ. Here he is, so you never know. And so the thing what I was saying is, if you have a story to tell and you're presented the way you are, there's a reason why God preserved you and presented you, because you're his gift to the people that's giftless.
Or think they're giftless.
But why do they think they're giftless? Because somebody mishandled their gift? Remember, like I told you, do you know, out of all the women I met, and I met many women, I could count on one hand that was not molested or raped.
Oh my gosh.
Out of all the women I met, on one hand. So now it starts off again. If that happened to you, what's your ideology of how you view men?
It's probably gonna be different in some way or shape or form.
Do you know a lot of women that was put in those situations? They want to change their identity because they want to say, why was that man attracted to me? And that I had these conversations. Because they just like, now they're wearing baggy clothes and stuff because they thinking, because this person, that's why I said, when you take someone's innocence, you don't know how you change in their ideology, how they look at life. And see, you went away, you're not there to see the damage you done, the car accident that you created. Now that person have to live on asking themselves questions and not getting the answer, because now they speculating and assuming they know. Why? So now they trying to come up with creative ways of saying, I don't want this to happen to me again. See, this is what I'm saying about when it comes to these conversations. In order to heal a person, first, what it says in the Bible, when to receive Christ, you gotta confess with your mouth and believe in your heart. They have to confess and they have to feel comfortable with somebody confessing. What happens if that's your ministry? We won't know. So as they confess to you, now that's when you're there to assist them and say, how could I help you? One of the things when working at Bradley Hospital, the children that I helped, and one of my favorite stories, and I love to tell this story, this is gonna bring a question again to you. I have a godson, he's older now. I went to church to go watch him in a play. So I'm sitting here, his mother sitting here, and there was somebody there. Now, if you see all of us, don't look like we know each other or whatever. So the person goes to his mother goes, "Is that your husband?" She goes, she said, "No, why?" They was like, "Could you get his attention?" And so she tapped me, and I said, "What's up?" And they was like, "This person wants you." And they go, "You don't remember me, do you?" I said, "Who are you?" They say, "You used to be a counselor, therapist at Bradley Hospital. You counsel me, and look at, I'm in church and everything because of you."
Oh, that's such a blessing.
You see what I mean? It's like, and I didn't know. And there's other stories of kids that I see in the mall, and because of conflict of interest, like there's another one is a girl who was into golf, black, dark, she ain't talk to nobody. For some reason, she opened up to me. So when we was in the mall, she was with her family and she seen me and she started waving. So a girl I was with, she goes, "Why's that kid?" I said, "I can't tell you why, but if you knew the story, you will understand." She was not like that before I met her. But see, that's what I'm saying. Sometimes, and I have stories like that. There's a kid that he seen me somewhere. What he told me. He said, "Yeah, this is when I was working in North Kingston. I was the only black person there. It was all WP, WC." So he goes, "You only here for the money." So I did a billboard, a blackboard, and I said, "Well, this is what we gotta pay when we go to school. This is how much we gotta pay for our car insurance. This is how much we gotta pay for this."
Yeah.
You think we here for the money? He's like, "No, but the reason why I'm telling that story, he seen me. He said, do you know me?" And this was years later. He said, "Do you know because of you, I became a social worker.
Oh.
I now help kids." So again, you don't know the effect you will have on somebody. Just like when these cameras finish, this get edited and it goes out, your story's gonna be told. People are gonna gravitate to you. So the message that you're giving to the people, to the women that's watching this, you don't know how life-changing it could be. And you may never hear that story until you go and meet your creator. Your creator might say, "Do you know, because of that sit down you did with Beyond Yon Productions, do you know the seeds that you planted in these people that made them now go do?" Because now when a young girl could watch this and say, "Oh, I want to be in journalism. I want to start with the words." That's why I said the questions that I'm asking you, as a woman, a black woman, answering the questions, you do not know what you can do for the youth movement and the women that think they have no hope. You don't know how you inspire, because we don't know. I set the times and places for you to be, so perhaps you seek me. So somebody poured into you, you're not pouring into others. And guess what? They're pouring into others. But you started the process, and you never know when that process is going to end, unless time permits for you to know the process. And so that's why when I'm asking you the questions, I'm asking you the questions because we don't see too many black women that preserve themselves. So when you tell the story of why you might be saving yourself for marriage. See, that's a speculation, assuming. You might say, "I'm the way I am because of my faith." You might say, because that's another thing a lot of people don't have, faith. They don't know Jesus. So that's why one of the things about me, when I deal with women, I try to be conscious of hurting them or whatever, because I don't, first of all, I know you shouldn't be doing things, you know what I mean? You ain't supposed to be doing anything, but I also want them to understand not all men are bad. And even though you allowed me into your life, I want to help you understand the Bible. Even if you don't understand the Bible, I want you to know, though, there's a creator that created you, and there's also a way that, because they better themselves. They get homes. Most of them got married. So again, I got better in the situation, even though they might have not been my wives, God still used me for and used them as well. And so when I'm sitting there and I'm telling them the story of where I am, and they telling me the story where they are now, especially the ones that got married, I love to hear that story because they even called me and said, hey, I'm having a situation with my husband. Can you help me? I didn't even have to sit down with the husband. I just say, you know what, your husband need this. And now they say, how did you know that? You never met him. Well, I'm a man, one. And two, the thing is that even men, we didn't have the proper guidance. And sometimes we use women as a mother figure too, to overcome what we're going through. So the main thing is, if we want to unify Rhode Island's full circle, we want to unify communities, we want to unify families, we'll have to start first. A conversation. So people have to hear the experiences of other people to understand why that can't be me. So I'll ask you a question this. So imagine this. You was born with both of your parents. So what do you tell a little girl that didn't have a parents or their parents was on drugs? They was introduced to lifestyle that they don't understand. So now when we come to them and we say, Jesus love you, well, if God is love and God is this, then why he put me in this situation? How do we help them? How do we answer that question?
That's an interesting question because it seems to be, I'm not going to say like the go-to, but that's usually like the questions that's directed towards Christians, like, oh, like, I've been through all of this, or someone has been through all of this, how do we know that God still loves us regardless? Sometimes when we're in those conversations with like friends, or I'm in those conversations with friends, we say that the rain falls on the just and unjust. So when you ask that question, my first thought was, it's got to go with words, but also beyond words. Because faith without works is dead. And it's easy to say, hey, just have faith in God. Now, if you have the opportunity to show that little girl, or if I have the opportunity to show that little girl my life, or connect her with people like a mentorship program in Rhode Island to point that out, or being a good example to her, or teaching her about amazing women in history who've done fabulous things and maybe had support of one or no parents. And that goes from Sister Rosetta Thorpe, who was a famous guitarist. When I heard her story, I only heard her mom was involved in making her who she was at the time. Josephine Baker could be controversial, but she barely had support of her family. And somehow she ended up going to France and creating a life for herself. You know, and just even Rhode Islanders or community members you can tell stories about. But it also goes back to what you were talking about before, about how some people can go through so much pain for a while, and at this point you're dealing with the imprints of what the ghost had made in a child's life.
Great word, imprint.
Yeah. And so I just think some of those things are just the first step, and even welcoming them into your circles or resources. But it always starts with what you can give to the child at the time, if that makes any sense.
No.
Okay. Yeah. So that's what I thought about.
And that's the thing. So if you listen, when you rewatch this, you're gonna be like, wow, he painted a picture. So like, here's the thing. You're a Bible reader. Abram was transitioned to Abraham to become the father of many nations. That father of many nations became the children of Israel. The children of Israel ushered in the person we call Jesus the Christ. Jesus Christ went and got 12 disciples that started the church. The church is now what we are in this day. We're the modern day saints. And I'm gonna tell you two scriptures to back up what you said earlier. So each one of us plays a part in someone else's development. Like I tell groups when I talk to them, the same way somebody was to me, one of y'all in this room is going to be to someone else. And again, I don't get to see the effects, same as with you. So there's many times you might say, somebody might read your book, because there was a time when one of my friends, my book, I didn't even know my book was out yet. My friend had the book, he walked in the gas station and this lady of 60 was reading it. And he goes, whoa, where you get that book from? Oh, what happened was I had a copy and I gave it to a firefighter and I said, do what you want with it when you read it. He was retired. He gave it to somebody, I didn't know who he gave it to. He said, yeah, that was a good book or whatever. WPs. But so it ended up with this lady in the gas station. So my friend walked in the gas station, he goes, where you get that book from? That's my friend's book. She's like, you don't know him. He's like, he's the reason the book exists. He's like, yeah, I do know him. Called me and he goes, yo, some lady got your book. I was like, how'd she get my book? I don't even have it. And then she was telling me about her son and all the situations, and I not knowing her, a counselor. So that's why I said you don't know. That experience right there where he walked, I was in the house still with God. He walked in a gas station and this woman was reading my book and saying, how do you help me with my son? He still live with me. I'm trying to whatever. And I even told her, you could do this. Here's my number, call me. But what is something that you would love to say or cover that we haven't covered?
Oh, I'm blank.
So what is it that you would love to leave? This is your audience.
Hi, audience.
So we just gave you a platform. So what would you want your audience to hear? What would you want to leave them with?
Okay. I would like to leave my audience with the thought that your stories do matter and you're deeply loved and cared about. And if you have anything in your heart you want to try out, even if it's just for curiosity or something you're passionate about, find the time to do it if you can. That's what I have.
If y'all ever go to Ebenezer Church, this is how the women are raised in that church. If you meet the church of yesterday, the ones that passed away that you ain't gonna meet, that's how you're a product of Ebenezer, because that's how this church is raised. It's wisdom, great wisdom. But today's episode, what I loved about this episode, and hopefully one day we're going to return and she going to speak to us in a way that she's like, she can feel comfortable, but just the conversation, this is what we're about. We're about positivity, conversations, because that's how the world's going to be healed. Until we address the things that is bothering us, that's hindering us, that's hurting us, we're never going to progress and move forward. And the thing about it is, I always tell y'all, you're not alone. You're not the only one going through something. Everyone has a story. You may not be able to tell the people that you're surrounded by. Does not mean you can't walk a little distance and meet someone else that you could tell that story to that's willing to help you. It doesn't matter what color they are, what financial structure they're in. And there may be even the person that you think would not understand, just might be that person that understands the story that you need to tell. So have an open mind, be attentive. Let them know how they can reach you, like Instagram, Facebook, anything else. You want to tell them how to get your books, all that?
Awesome. So you can get my book, Jesus Adulting People in Poetry, on Amazon.com. I have a book coming out called Try and Make It Home, but for more information on when that's going to come out, you can visit my website, KouTukalaNyan.com, or you can follow me on Instagram at Higher Callings with the Z1.
You're the least talkative person. That's amazing. I'm pulling things like, come on. I'm like fishing. It's like, come on. I'm like, yo. The waters are still, sir. Oh, sure.